any bad thing that has ever happened, I can look back on it like a year later and go, oh, well, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here right now.
Ladies and gentlemen,
you are now about to witness
the journey that is the Lyfe Choyces podcast.
Yeah!
How do you, or how did you take any period of time in your life that negative thoughts were kind of abundant? How did you reprogram your mind to push away or get through or pass by the negativity and replant the positive ability?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and it's something that takes practice. You know, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's still, I mean, it's not even something that I've perfected being, 15 years into using the law of attraction. It's something that I think is a constant thing that I'm working on, but my biggest tool that I've always had is the gratitude list. And I feel a little redundant when I talk about the law of attraction, because it always comes back to the gratitude list for me, but it's such like an important aspect of how I practice the law of attraction, and it's always really been like my go-to method of solving my problems. And so to answer your question, early on when I was feeling overwhelmed with negative thoughts, or, even today still it happens, if someone pisses me off or some situation is going on where it's really, like we've talked about before, I'm an overthinker, so like if someone says even just some disrespectful shit to me that rubs me the wrong way, it's like, fuck, I didn't deserve to hear that, like instead of letting it eat me up all day in my head, which I've done in the past before, and like argue with that person in my head all day, I just go to the gratitude list and I get it off, and it's not even about writing about the problem, but writing about the state of mind that you want to be in, or focusing on the things that are not that and that are going to take you away from that state of mind, and writing it out and putting yourself visually in that place in your mind. It distracts you even just for the time being, and making a daily practice out of that gratitude list instead of it just being a thing that you fall back on when you're in trouble, because it's way harder to get yourself out of that hole when you're like in a spiral of negative thoughts and you're in a deep spot. I think it's a lot harder to pull yourself out of that with just a quick little journal entry, and obviously that's not what I think the gratitude is. It's not a quick little journal entry, but to a lot of people that's how it sounds. It's like, okay, Pete, my problems are big, I'm not just gonna go jot some shit on a piece of paper to solve my problems. It's not that simple. But if it's something that you're practicing every single day, the gratitude list, and you make it not a chore, but a routine, and
not a I have to, but I get to. And
I mean, I look forward to it. It's fun. I translate it often to like when you're a kid and you're making like a Christmas list for Santa. And as a kid, you believe in Santa. You think whatever you write on this list, you're getting, and you feel excited about writing it down because you're getting it in a couple days, and like that's how I feel about the gratitude list. When I write that shit on the list that I don't have, but I'm writing it as if I already have it, I'm feeling as if I already have it, it's hard not to put that pen down and be like kind of fucking stoked inside,
So besides the fact that you do it daily at whatever point in the day that you do it, when these moments of life, things that happen to all of us, right, occur to you, whether it's someone cutting you off on the road or you walk into a bar and you overhear someone saying something that's disrespectful, mm-hmm, do you ponder that for a while, or do you try to, as soon as possible, write it down, or write it out, I should say?
It's I think when I'm on point with my gratitude list and I'm writing every single day, the main value that adds is it's constantly reminding you of your goals and the place that you want to be in life. And so when things pop up throughout the day that contradict that energy that you want to have, it's really easy to identify it and go, that doesn't align with me right now, and just kind of not give it attention. And it's something that I feel like pretty good about lately, where just like if someone rubs me the wrong way or says some slick shit that I'm not really fond of, instead of letting it eat me alive in my head all day and be like, why the fuck did they think that was okay to say? I didn't even mean it that way when I did, like it doesn't really matter what they think of me, and they probably don't even mean it. They're not thinking about it all day after they said it. It was just some slick little, it was just a comment, and so anyway, the gratitude list every day, I think, keeps you focused on where you want to be in your head. And so then it's really easy to identify the things that don't align with that.
What you just said there, to piggyback on it, is when people listen to this or listen to us just have a conversation out in the world, and they say things like you said, like, oh, hey, Pete, my problems are bigger than this. What they're not understanding is exactly what you just said, that I have come to a realization very much so over the past 5 months, is the more you believe, the more you practice, the more you do all of this stuff, you have this weird ability to be so conscious. Conscious? It's a hard word for me to say. You become so conscious of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And then you're able to, when those things happen, you're able to realize, no, I'm not letting that affect me. I used to dive off the deep end in this situation. If that person said that, or if I overheard them, dude, what the fuck's that about?
Right.
No. Now I laugh about it. It's so helpful that if people who are not aware or have not practiced these things before, that when we say we do them daily, this is monthly, this is now yearly, this is a large part of our life that we've done it, you will eventually get that feeling in the exact moment. You will realize how present you are, because when it happens, you're like, you just smile almost, and you're like, yeah, it's just a situation. I'm going to let that go right through me and continue on.
I love this. I like to piggyback that point with this, and it's funny when I bring it up because I've never actually read this book, but are you familiar with the book, The Four Agreements?
No, I don't.
Really? That almost surprises me. It's like right up your alley. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I've never read it.
Yeah.
My mom has read it a bunch of times, and I'm aware that one of the four agreements is never take anything personal. And it's like so valid, because a lot of the times these little things that, it's so funny. I'll use like a specific example. I've been like obsessed with pickleball for the last few months. I'm on the pickleball bandwagon.
Almost a year.
Yeah, I guess that's true. It has been almost a year. I started in March last year. Shout out to the Lifetime Pickleball Squad. But sometimes, it's competitive, and we're all having fun for the most part. But like when you start playing at a higher level, like it gets taken pretty serious. And occasionally someone will say some slick shit, and like I'm just as competitive as the next guy, but I'm also like big on like respect, just in life in general. And when someone says some stuff, sometimes I'll let it like ruin my fucking rest of the time I'm there, for like an hour and a half. I'm just playing pickleball, fucking pissed off because someone said something stupid. And I'll drive home and be like, why did I let that ruin my whole time there? I'm there to have fun. Why the fuck I'm not going to use anyone's name. Why did I let what that one person said bother me? It doesn't matter, I'm there to have fun.
Well, it's because we're human, and as much as we live the lives that we do, and we promote them and tell people about it regularly, we're still human, and things still can affect us. Yeah. And it just shows us that we always have room to improve ourselves. And same thing, I was just working for 5 months, and I'm not going to name names, but on a regular basis near the end of the 5 months, I was getting very annoyed with one individual on a daily basis. Right. And at the end of every day, I would have to take the time and like really like say like, thank you for the day I've had. I'm really happy that you put that in front of me to allow myself to see where I can become better. Yeah. And I would still, like, for about 2 weeks every day, unfortunately, I allowed myself to be affected by that person. Right. And then once I step away from the whole situation, it's kind of like, wow, why? Like I'll never see that person again. Mm-hmm. I'll never work with that person again. Right. But yet we're still human. We still get affected by the things, and it's a great opportunity for ourselves to look further within ourselves to see how can we get even better, because we are advocates for living a more positive, healthy lifestyle. Yeah. And I think it shows how human we are, that we can still be affected like everybody else. Yeah, absolutely. I want to make that super clear. I preach the gratitude list like no one else I know, and I'm still not perfect with it. I'm 3 days in a row now writing the gratitude list, but I looked and I hadn't written for a month prior to that 3 days. And I'm so disciplined with it, dude.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
and I should be
every morning, and to the point where like every morning it's certain stuff that I write all the time, but I want to get better at it. So I just bought myself and my girlfriend. She might see this before I get to Thailand. I bought us both an actual gratitude journal off of Amazon. Like I did some like flipping through it online, and it's pretty cool because it gives you a bit more like fun activities to do with it.
Sure.
Because I just want to do more in depth with it and add more time of my day towards it because I just see the benefits with all of it, like every day. And like we just said, like the consciousness, I've never been more conscious of my thoughts than I have been in the past 6 months.
Right.
And it's so amazing that I just want to do more to become more conscious.
And do you attribute that to the gratitude list?
I contribute to everything we've talked about in all of our episodes before because like you, to those who are willing to listen, I will talk to them about it till I'm blue in the face.
Right. And so I think that's the answer to your original question of like, how do you reprogram yourself to not have those negative thoughts? It's becoming aware of your thoughts and not letting your thoughts just be autopilot and, you know, the way you feel is the way you feel. You're in control. Man, shout out to Caesar the barber. Just came fresh off a haircut. We were watching Life Choices while I was in the chair. And he said something beautiful, bro, while I was in the chair. He said, I was talking to my client this morning, and I was telling him the only two things you have control of are now I'm going to butcher the quote, but I think it was how you act and how you react or something like that are the only things you're actually in control of. Fuck, I lost my train of thought and how that was relevant.
Well, I mean, basically what you're saying is what we've said here before, which is like my belief is that the only thing that we have control over is the way in which we react to our emotions.
Right.
And when you become conscious of your thoughts, you're able to not be reactive to everything.
Yes.
And another book, a guest that's been on here before, Jennifer Alley, who's coming back again in a week. She has this most amazing book that I'm now going to start promoting. It's it's on the kitchen table. I have read in 2 days almost half the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about the drama-free life, and she's an amazing human being. And this book, when you read it, dude, it just amplifies everything that we live, everything that we do, and it just helps you even more to understand why we are who we are and what happened to us, to all of us, to any of us in our youth, and all the things, all of our surroundings and anything that we have gone through, good or bad, and how it has molded you into this individual. Yeah. It's pretty intense.
I think another point that I want to touch on to your original question is like how to reprogram your brain to not feed into the negativity. Is the gratitude list is number one, but also there's like so many, I think, like bad habits that a lot of us have that would also help, you know, not feeding into the negativity by, I think we all have that friend that will call you to tell you about what so-and-so did at work today that pissed them off. They're calling you just to vent. And I understand the importance of venting from time to time, but if you have that friend that every day is just calling you to dump their negativity on you, I would try to limit those conversations because it's not helping your state of mind. Even, I mean, you know, and maybe you can block it out, you know, like I have friends like this that can be that way, but I also want to be there for them at the same time because I think they call me with those problems for this reason, because I tend to steer them more into see the bright side of the situation type of conversation. But it's important not to let that bring you down. You know, I usually will entertain it with those certain people because they're open to this law of attraction mindset. So it sort of fires me up talking about it because I like being like, no, look, that's fine. What happened? We're probably learning from it for this reason, you know, and it like almost reassures me that the law of attraction is working, you know. But
I think with that is you have the most valid point that in order to be happy and successful, you need to surround yourself with those who are also happy and successful. It's hard to be around people that are always negative because that energy is going to affect you. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. That being said, those friends that come to you, they know you and they know how you live your life. So they're coming to you not for unsolicited advice. They're coming to you because they know more possibly that you're going to be able to say something to them about it to help them.
Right.
Now, what you're doing is being the best type of friend, because those of us who in the past would just sit there and listen to them and help them by saying, or think they're helping them by saying, oh yeah, man, that's a complete shit thing that person did.
Right. Just
Worst thing you
validate
can
their
do.
feelings.
Worst thing you could do.
Yeah.
Being a real friend is telling them, well, listen, I gotta be honest with you. You do this every day. You bitch and complain about everything that's going on in your life. Maybe if you took this and did that instead, then that situation might not have happened to you, and then you would not be this angry every day after work.
Right.
And I think that is way more important than just being a soundboard for someone to vent. Absolutely, be there for your friends, but if you notice that that's all they're bringing to the table, it's time to cut them out.
Right. And especially if it's affecting you. If you
Yes.
find that you're hanging up on those phone calls and you're like fucking mentally exhausted from that conversation, then maybe you just need to check how often you're letting those conversations bring you down, because it's not helping. And if you're that friend, identify yourself as being that friend. And it's important to vent. Like those situations when someone pisses me off at pickleball, I'll call Kevin right after and be like, guess what the fuck this person did? But I get it off my chest, because I know if I don't get it out, I'm going to have that argument in my head, maybe. But you get it out and you release it, you let it go, and then it's important to just move on. It's not like I call Kevin and then I call my mom and then I call my sister and we just, fucking
you're
bash
not
this person.
You're that kind of individual, that kind of personality that does that. And
Yeah.
I can admit
I know they
that
exist.
I've done it before. I've done it before in earlier years.
Mm-hmm.
You're not looking for a solution to your issue.
Validation.
You're literally just looking to tell us as many people as possible.
Right.
And you don't even realize how negative what you're saying is ruining their day.
Right.
And
You're
that's
just
your
spewing
friends.
negativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good.
It adds no value.
So what because we've already touched on it, laws of attraction.
Yeah.
What would you say are one, two, or three of the biggest results, influences that the laws of attraction have taught you?
You're presented with obstacles every day. You're putting out fires most days. And things don't always go according to plan. Things work sometimes, things don't work sometimes. Clients cancel, shit breaks at the worst time. There's constantly obstacles. And the law of attraction has really taught me to reprogram my perspective on when those things happen, and really not identifying as a victim ever in those situations, but taking every obstacle as a learning opportunity. Any bad thing that has ever happened, I can look back on it a year later and go, oh, well, if that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here right now. I can even my motorcycle got stolen a few years ago. I only had it for 2 months, brand new motorcycle. I didn't have insurance on it, so I still had to pay for the whole thing, even though I didn't have it. Pretty shitty situation. And it would be real easy to be like, man, the fucking shit always happens to me like that. It's not fair. But I really wasn't even fazed when it happened, because I was like, well, fuck, dude, if I'm not supposed to have that bike, who am I? Maybe I was going to die on it tomorrow, you don't know how the outcome is supposed to be, or how you're supposed to get there,
I don't think the lesson I've learned is you don't need to know how you're going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to know that you're on your way.
Right. And trust the process, as cliche as that sounds, but whatever happens, I'm a firm believer in it was supposed to happen. I think everything happens for a reason, whatever that means. And I know that's a little bit of a controversial take for some people.
No, and cliche is cliche. The reason why they're cliche is because everyone believes it, because that happens so often that there's a saying about it, right? And the cliche of when one door closes, another opens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we believe that no matter what negative comes our way, whatever situation might happen, a client canceling, and you budgeted your month to know that you're going to have this many people coming in, you're going to make this much money so I can get this new equipment, or whatever the situation is, and then all of a sudden 3 clients cancel on you. You could kick the fucking table and break your tattoo gun, and what the fuck did that do? Or you can just be like, you know what, That's fine. It doesn't surprise me. There's a reason. My big thing is that I usually say, you know, there's a reason for this happening.
Yeah.
And more likely than not, I'm never going to know what that reason is. But a month, a week, a year from now, I'm going to be so happy that that was the best thing that didn't happen for me.
Right. It's almost always forced me to learn, and you know, someone cancels or my calendar isn't as full as I need it to be. I'm forced to get more creative with marketing. And now I'm confident in my marketing abilities in any industry. I don't even have to apply it to tattooing, but now I know how to create a brand and promote something properly, you know, and create hype and energy around it. And that's something I was forced to learn as a result of wanting to keep my business growing and booming, you know.
And being the only person in your business. Like that's
everything is my fault.
Yes, people and people don't understand. There's always that thing of what's the look how he made it or low.
So lucky
for him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it's like no one really knows. No one sees the actual real, which is 5 years, 6 years, 2 years, whatever it is, to get you to where it is. They just see the highlight reel of what we put up, right? The Instagram of like your studio being built real quick because you did it. And then like, you know, you're booking all the time and like you're living a life that, you know, you got your own, you got your own 2-bedroom apartment, you got a nice vehicle, three bedroom apartment, nice vehicle, a dog, a studio. Like it's never shown that everything is on your shoulders, and it's literally up to you to either make it or break it.
Yeah. And some people could take that as a lot of pressure and feel real anxious about it. And I'm not going to pretend like sometimes it doesn't feel like pressure, but I have no choice but to make it work, you know? So why let that consume me with fear? Instead, it fires me up. I have no choice but to do what I need to do.
100%.
What better motivation is that? Yeah. You know,
and that's it. And that fact is in the Think and Grow Rich book, where most of those people, you know, their back was up against the wall. They didn't have a financial freedom, and they just kind of had to. This is a do or die situation. Right. Can I make this work? And I'm not going to take no from myself as an answer. I'm going to make it work.
And even on a micro level, like running ads. Or, you know, this is something you'll relate to greatly, doing the podcast stuff. Like sometimes you're testing, everything's just a test, you know, when something doesn't work out, that was just a result of a test that now you know that doesn't work. So let's adjust. And now we don't have to waste our time testing that anymore. You know, like everything's just it's not a failed ad.
Dude, the way I look at things now compared to the way I looked at them 2 years ago, like this episode's actually going up next week. We are a couple weeks away from our 100th episode. And the way I used to think to the way I think now is I don't care what everyone else says out there in the world as to what the formula is supposed to be. Yeah. I just don't care anymore. I'm like, I'm going to do it the way I'm going to do it. I get an abundance of emails and DMs from so many people that want to know if I want to do better. And if, hey, we could do this for you. We could do that for you. And it's like, you know what? I'm fine with where everything is. Everything's working out the way it's supposed to be in the time in which that it's supposed to be working out. Yeah. And it's just getting your brain to that point of everything is a test. And I'm throwing up episodes once a week. I'm showing up. I used to do long ones and I do short ones. I'm doing solo ones, you know, instead of having guests every week. Like it's really just, let's just see what works. Let's see what's going to be the thing that just changes my whole life. Going furthermore into the whole laws of attraction, you know, things that we've learned from living our lives with the laws of attraction. You have a couple more points as to like what you've learned the most from it.
Yeah, I think another huge part and like almost a pairing with the gratitude list and something that's slept on a lot is visualization.
Oh, I like that.
It's also something that's I almost feel like easier to execute, you know? So if you're having a hard time getting disciplined with the gratitude list and like making the 10 minutes a day to write down the way you want your life to be, you can cheat and just run through it in your head, you know, as detailed as possible. And I mean, I try to pair the two together because I think it's that much more powerful. I'll write my gratitude list and then I go lay down and I'll close my eyes and I just basically run through that whole list and I'm I'm imagining myself doing the things I can see myself shaking the client's hand at the end of the session. them looking in the mirror, checking out the tattoo, turning around, just being blown away. Like, I can see it happening, you know, so clearly in my head. And before the shop ever existed, I could see the shop clearly in my head. What the shop that I have right now was designed in my brain the day I decided I wanted to be a tattoo artist. You know, like those lights that I have, I saw before I ever knew where the space was. I knew I was going to have the hexagon lights, the Husky toolboxes. I had designed the whole place in my brain like the night that I wanted to be a tattoo artist, you know, before ever knowing if it was going to work, if I was going to like it. It was so clear in my head. And I've been that way ever since a kid. Like, ever before knowing what the law of attraction was, I can remember, like, I've been a terrible sleeper my whole life. I can never sleep at night. And I can remember laying in bed and just closing my eyes and visualizing, like, having all the things that I wanted to have. For some reason, when I was little, I wanted to have, like, a recording studio. I don't know if I thought I was going to be a rapper or something, but I can remember, like, having the big Mac computer and, like, I don't know, just imagining myself having the things that I wanted and getting, like, excited about it because feeling like it was real. And that is, like, when I know it's working, when I feel that fucking, I can feel it right now talking about it. That is such a powerful tool to learn how to use.
The visualization is one of, I think, the three most important aspects of what we talk about together, is being so specific with it. And I mean, for me right now, with where my life is going, I'm going to have a vision board. Like my wife and I, we're going to have in our house, we're going to have like an area where we just, anytime we think of something, or if the thought comes in our head, we're going to cut it out of a magazine or pull it off an Instagram post or whatever, and we're going to post it up, because I'm designing her wellness clinic, our resort spa, the kitchen, the kitchen school, I guess you want to call it, like all of these things. But I'm even collecting things for like the house we're going to build. And I visualize to like the type of soil that I'm going to put in the garden beds, that I want the vegetables that are going to be growing over an archway, to the point where like adding the emotional feeling to that visualization, which is something that Joe Dispenza talks about all the time, is when you know what you want and you can visualize it, add that emotion of happiness, or add that emotion of what you're going to feel when you get it, as if you have it right now. And I'm sorry to say to anyone that's a disbeliever, it is fucking true.
It's magic,
it works.
bro.
It's
life
crazy.
Is fucking magic when you can figure that shit out.
And it's like, we're telling you right now, we're telling you because of things we've read, things we've seen, and literally the experiences we've had in life.
Yeah.
We have had all of these happen for us. Like I am packing up and I am moving to a different country.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's something I have visualized for so long, and I realize like where my happiness is in the moment right now, thinking about that.
Yeah. Right.
And it's life changing.
Absolutely, dude.
One other note before we wrap it up today, because we're getting in time here.
Yeah.
Something I just came across actually, and I don't know if you've ever done this, but I've often said that I live in a nostalgic vintage time, meaning I love old movies and the way things used to be, and I try to hold on to the way I was when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Have you ever taken the moment, and this is what comes from being more conscious about your present moment, is being nostalgic in the moment that you are actually experiencing as it happens. So I started doing this lately, and I want you to give it a try, and we'll talk about it next time you come back in a couple months. So I'm moving, right? Like, I'm going to be living in a different country. So everything that I'm doing now is going to be nostalgic to me.
Right.
Like spending time with my best friend in this house, right? That is going to be in a year's time. That'll be nostalgic to me because it's in the past. It's something that, oh my God, I so appreciated those conversations. So I'm allowing myself, I get to experience nostalgia in the present moment.
Nice.
And you want to talk about that feeling of like, oh my God, that feels so fucking good.
Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy to feel that in the present moment.
That's nice, bro. Because when you think about, like, I don't know, like a 90s song, when I think of nostalgia, that's what I think of, like some 90s alternative song. and it makes you feel good. You know how you can hear a certain song and it like takes you back to a specific time in a specific place, and all of a sudden it just makes you happy for no reason, or makes you like emotional for no reason just because you hear it. Being able to channel that anytime you want is powerful.
Dude, you have that opportunity to channel that literally in your daily life. It's fucking crazy. Alrighty, I guess we're going to wrap that up then.
Sweet.
Right? That's a pretty awesome session. Once again, thank you to everyone out there that keeps coming back each and every week here on the Life Choices podcast. We'll see you next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Much love, everybody.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You are now about
The Journey Life Choices podcast.